Hey everyone, I'm Meg, and yes, I know I'm doing this early, but I've been up since 6:30 where I live, and I decided to do this early because I have a feeling I'm going to go to bed early again, and yeah, it's pretty much the beginning of the day, and it is freezing. I want warm weather. I want summer like probably a lot of people do. But yeah, but and with no further introduction, this is going to be a long one. So let's just get started. And also, I saw the last Stranger Things episode. I freaking cried. Yeah. And if y'all saw what I saw, y'all probably cried too. And I'd be concerned if you didn't. That's all. Anyway, but again, with no further introduction, we can get started. Pikes Place Market is a public market in Seattle, Washington, founded in 1907. Throughout its history, in spite of various challenges brought about by changing ordinances and planning investments, it has operated without a major interruptions, making it one of the oldest continuously operated public farmers market in the United States. It was created when the Senate Coliseum, Thomas P. Revell, the advantage of the president of the 1896 Seattle City Ordinance that allowed the city to designate tracts of land as public markets. And designed to portion of the area of Western Avenue above the Elliott May tide flats of Pike Street and First Avenue. The first building at the market opened on November 30th, 1907. During the early 1920s, the North Side Corner Market became known as the Sanitary Market, and the area developed a social scene. New ordinance forbidden farmers' stalls to be placed in the street result in proposal to move the on expanding in market to move the market will. But in 1921, the council voted retain the existing location of the work on expanding in place. In 1963, a proposal that floated to demolish Pike Place Market replaced with the Pike Plaza. With the community of operation including help from the prominent individuals within the board of the Friends of the Market, the innovate was passed on November 2nd, 1971. That created a historic preservation zone. As part of this, the city founded Pike Place Market Preservations and developed authority to run the market. In the 1980s, a nonprofit group, the Pike Place Market Foundation, I wonder how you say that one 5 times fast, was established by the PDA to raise funds and the administrator the Marcus Free Clinic. The Senior Center, Low Income Housing, and Child Care Center. The 1983 Hidlett Amendment or Hidlett Agreement struck a balance between the farmers and craftspeople in the days which set a precedent for all location of Letitia Henley Agreement was adopted in February of 1999. In 2008, Seattle improvements were completed in 2012. Before the creation of the Pike Place Market in 1907, local settlement farmers sold their goods to the public in square block area called the Lot, located at 6th Avenue and King Street. There's a lot of King Streets everywhere. Most products sold at the lots would then be brought to commercial wholesale houses on Western Avenue, which became known for their farm, were forced to sell their produce on consignment through the percentage of the final sale price on their goods. They would sell to the middleman on commission, as most farmers would often have no time to sell directly to the public. And their earnings would be marked up prices and expected sales. In some cases, farmers made a profit, just as often found themselves breaking even, or getting no money at all due to the business prices of the wholesalers. During the existence of the wholesale houses, which predated the market, there were regular rumors as well as a sense of corporation in denying payment to farmers. As consumers and farmers grew increasingly vocal in their unhappiness over the situation, Thomas P. Revell, a Seattle City councilman, lawyer, and newspaper editor, took advantage of the percentage of an 1896 Seattle City ordinance that allowed the city to design tract of land in public markets. The area of Western Avenue above the Elegant May, Tide Flats, and the area of the commissioned food houses had just been turned into a wooden plank road called Pikes Place. Off the Pike Street and First Avenue through a city council ordinance vote on August 5th, 1907. He had part of the Pike Place design temporarily in public market sales of garden, farm, and other food products from wagons. On Saturday, August 17th, 1907, City Council President Charles Harmon Burnett Jr. filled in for the elected mayor as the acting mayor of Seattle, declared the day of public market day, and cut the ribbon. In the week leading up to the opening of Pike Marketplace, various rumors and stories furthered the corruption and reported by the Seattle Times. Oddly, 10 farmers pulled up their wagons on the boardwalk adjacent to the Leland Hotel. The Times allegedly several reasons for the low turnout farmers. Western Avenue Wholesale commissioned men who had gone to nearby valleys and farms to buy all their produce out of ahead of time to ruin the event. Acts of violence by the lack of business and the commission men against the farmers, fear people, boycotts, and lack of business in the commission men if the market idea did not succeed in the long term. Hundreds of commissioners soon arrived before noon that day. All the farmers' produce had sold out. In 1907, Frank Goodwin owned Goodwin Real Estate Company in Seattle. Together, His brothers Ethan and John, headquarters in the City, Alaska building. They own Leland Hotel on Pike Street, an undeveloped tract of land that surrounded Pike Place along the Western Avenue bluff. On opening day of the market, Goodwin observed the early morning chaos of farmers dealing with large crowds. Sensing their land was about to be appreciated in value, they began to heavily advertise on joining plots for sale. Work began immediately on what is today a main arcade on the Pike Place Market. Northwest of the adjoining Leland Hotel, the first building at the market, the main arcade, opened November 30th, 1907. At its opening day, 40 Pikes band performed for a large cheering crowd. During the early years of Pike Place Market, Seattle Orients limited its hours of operation only by 5 a.m. to 12 noon. Monday throughout Saturday in place. Internal supervision of the facility within the city department of streets and sewers. Local police gave out vendor stalls to farmers on first come, first served basis. In 1910, two farmers associated organized themselves, the Washington Farmers Association. Represented in Japanese farmers, other farmers organized the White Home Growers Association. By 1911, the demand of the market grown for so much that the number of available stalls had doubled. And extended North Pike Street to Stewart. That's embarrassing. Sorry, guys. The Stewart Street, doubling in size since the opening of the main arcade. The west side of stalls were soon covered in an overhead canopy, and the roofing became known as the dry row. The last of the core buildings of the market for the coming decades was obtained in 1916 by the Goodwins. I wonder if Aaron Goodwin is a part of that family. You know, from Ghost Adventurers. I wonder. When they purchased the long-term lease on the Bartlett building at the corner of First Avenue and Pike Street, renamed the Economy Market, it became an expansion to the main arcade. On February 6, 1919, nearly all of Seattle's labor unions took part in a work stoppage. News of this beginning to spread earlier in the local newspaper, leading to the panic run on the goods and market. The labor strike affected the delivery of goods to the market that lasted 5 days, during which the market was nearly deserted. It would become the longest period of inactivity in the history of the Pike Place Market. Throughout the early 20s, the north side of the corner market became known as the sanitary market, housing delicatessen, butchers, restaurants, and bakeries. The ferry system would bring shoppers from various islands, punch it sound to shop, and market vendors began to bring goods directly to the docks for sale. Poland Dock and Pier 3 which is now known as Pier 54, or within the walking distance, and the persons coming to sell their wares and market disembark from the steamers to the docks. The area became a social center where young Seattle locals were sent to see and be seen. In September of 1920, the Seattle City Council quietly passed an order in farmer stalls. The market could no longer be placed on in the street. In response to complaints from some local business about traffic flow, outcry immediately from some of the from the farmers, merchants, and various city groups. In the midst of the turmoil, the Westlake Market Company pushed itself in the situation, promising that they would build a two-floor underground market at the building they owned on Fifth Avenue. 4 blocks from the existing Pikes Market, the Goodwins in response proposed, proposed another center plan to leverage insurance bonds to finance another future expansion of the market. As the city government began to quickly lean towards the Western proposal, the farmers began to formally organize together for the first time to protect their interests. The deciding Seattle City with council vote in April of 1921 was in favor of the retaining an existing market location, and the Goodwins immediately began work on their next expansion. At the time of the bombing of Pearl Harbor in December of 1941, many of the farmers selling the Pike Place Market were Japanese Americans. The late Seattle historian and Seattle historian Walt Corley estimated that they might have been as many 4/5 of the farmers selling produce from stalls. President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed an exclusive order in 1996 on February 19, 1942, which eventually forced the Americans of Japanese ancestry an exclusive zone that included the entirety of the West Coast state and South Arizona into internment camps. On March 11th, Executive Order of 1995 created the Office of Alien Property Custodian and gave it disciplinary authority over all alien property interests. Many assessments were frozen, creating immediately financial exclusion zones. Many Japanese Americans effectively dispossessed. In 1963, a proposal was floated to demolish the Pike Place Market and replace it with Pike Place Plaza, which would include a hotel, an apartment building, 4 office buildings, a hockey arena, and a parking garage. This supported by the mayor, many on the city council, and member of the market property owners. However, was a significant community opposition, including help from Betty Bowen, Victor Steenberg, It is Ben Neslin and others from Born of Friends from the Market, and Infamous was an invite was passed on November 2nd, 1971. The creation of Victorian zones turned the market into a public lands, the Pikes Place preservation and development. Authority was created by the city market. Over the course of the 70s, all market historian publics were restored and renovated using the original plan and blueprints and appropriate material. In 1963, a proposal was floated to the demolished Pike Place Market and replaced with the Pike Place building, hockey arenas, and parking garages, as I said. This was supported by the mayor and many on the council and number of parking owners. However, the significant community opposite included. Why was this printed twice? Sorry guys, I did not know that was printed twice. In the 1980s, federal welfare reformed squeezed social services based on the market. As a result of a nonprofit group, the Pike Place Market Foundation was established by the PDA and raised funds to administer the free clinic, senior center, low-income housing, and childcare. Also in the 80s, wooden floors on top of the arcade were placed with tiles that were laid by the PDA after a staggering huge successful capital campaign. People could pay $35 to have their names inscribed on the tile. Campaign. Between 1985 and 1987, more than 45,000 tiles were installed, an agreement to strike a balance between farmers and craftspeople, and the agreement in the day stalls. The agreement set rules that would last for 10 years from August 1983 that would be succinctly renewable for further terms of 5 years. The prices formula is laid out on stone for 15 years, and it set the presented for today location and of day stalls. In the grave craftspeople, priority North Arcade, and the farmers priority elsewhere. Victor Steenberg Park, right directly north of the marketplace, originally Market Park, from about 1909, the site had enormously was damaged by fire in 1962. The land was taken over by the city in 1968, and the remnant of the armory was razed. In 1970, land passed to park usage. This resulting in market was largely redesigned in 1982. It was renamed in 1985 after Victor Steenberg, who was the instrumental in the marketplace preservation. In 1998, the PDA decided to end the Hindelet Agreement, while their proposed new rule to allocate the day stall and generally seen was more profitable to farmers, where there were both farmers and craftspeople objected. At their last meeting, born of August 1st deadline, the PDA voted on the 8th to 4 to notify to the city of its and 10 not renewed the agreement. The City Council did not accept the proposed subtitle, and the City Council PDA to agreement the public with process and the marketplace and played on a major role. Provide enough input. The city council member Nick Latika to draft revised version of the Hitler Agreement adopted in February of 1999. It became known as the Latika-Hitler Agreement. The bad blood is generated by the conflict spurred an audit of PDA prices in the city editor. Sorry, my head started hurting. The editor was critical of the PDA for the associated finance area of the partner, but experiencing of any wrongdoing. Pikes marked the dedicate celebrated its 100-year anniversary on August 17th, 1997. 2007. Telling you, my head is hurting me right now. A wide variety of activities and events took place, and a concert was held in Victor Steinberg Park in the evening, consisting entirely on songs related in one way or another to Seattle. The house band from the concert called itself the Iconics, and it consisted of Dave Devern and Andrew McKay. Smelled differently than my aunt. And Ty Bailey. Other performers, including Chris Ballou, Sean Nelson, and Harvey Dagger, Paul Henson, and the Dolly Muffin Corner, Rachel Florida of the Queen, Paul Smith of Brad, Sean Gross, Mike McCready of the Pearl Jam, John Roderick, and Lon Winters. Evan Foster and the Boss Midterns, artists of the Sprucemen, Ernstine and Anderson, and the Total Experience Gospel Choir. In 2008, Seattle voters approved of the 6-year property tax levy to fund the crucial repairs and improvement, raise standards for safety, accessibility, and environmental stewardship. The architecture from SRG Partnership was hired to design and renovate. Completed in 2012, the renovation was designed to preserve character of the campus while giving the building comprehensive upgrade that archives completed with the city and standards. In the heart of Seattle, nearby Emerald Waters and Public Sound lies Pike Creek Market, a hotspot for tourism vendor paddles and their fresh produce, heavily flown renewed fishmongers have viewed shimmering fish and delighted gathered crowds, yet beneath the bustling vibrant lies a more obscure tale, one ripe with infernal underpinnings that casted long cold shivers down the very spine of the market. Magic circulates around pike plates, the non-simple trickery of the coin card, that rather ordered, weirder kind of magic. As night creeps, and the cobble and lay abandoned by the self-availability of the day, the eerie quiet descends. The silence is deafening in the entirety with its folds, or whispers of ghostly apparitions spook left wandering and lost in this liminal plane. Add Amid these spectral tales, one ghostly figure stands tall, his lesson out, outlasting the others. Frank Goodwin, the guardian spirit of Pikes Place. No, not malevolent, but instead eternal protector. Frank, along with his brothers at his right hand, laid the first brick of the market, embedding their blood, sweat, and tears in the variety brick of the market. And a man of great stature, visions, and unmatched resolve, Frank's spirit remained tethered to this place, wandering amongst the labyrinth underneath the market, even in death. The ghostly sightings began not long after Frank's demise. Each tale more bone-chilling than the next. Shopkeepers, custodians, and even a few enthralled tourists had come forth with their encounters. Often late in the night, his ghostly form appears in the market's shadowy levels, forever ensuring that the steady harmony of his creation. Maggie, a vibrant woman who ran the Maggie's Bluff shop, was such a person to cross with Frank. It was a bundle night that she felt abrupt in instances wrapping her. An all-encompassing and encompassing shell emanating from nowhere. Then something whispered her name, a voice waiting and circling in the quiet. The voice had a familiar made her blood run cold. It was Frank. Ghost sightings became more common after that. Visitors reported glimpses of a shadowy figure lurking in the passages below the market, and many swear they have heard the echoing footsteps of someone who was not there. Yet despite the unbeaten, the spectral presence rather provides with a sense of eerie allure and enticing glimpse of the veil splitting the living from the bygone. To this very day, Frank's shadowy figures, accompanied by his serfs and starks, reminder of their life, passion, and devotion we given to a place can preserve when we are long gone and turn into treasure folklore. A man who built the marketplace from its nascent stages, Frank's spirit embodies the soul of the Pike Plates, forming the inspiration entirety binds them together, past and present. I did not know that was going to be a long one. Anyway, thank you guys for watching my channel and videos. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, I am Haunted Girl, and I'll speak to you later. The paranormal is my playground. And until next time, pleasant dreams.